here. And that's because the main focus of the deck is getting these Stampeding Wild Boars into play. Now, Stampeding Wild Boar is a 3-cost 4/4 with Speed, Crush, and Invincible. You can check out what those keywords do here while I'm explaining what else the card is doing for those who aren't familiar, but pretty powerful set of keywords. Now, the card says, when this deals damage to an opposing champion, draw a card. Okay, great, that's nice. And it also says that at the end of your turn, put this into your deck and it gets +4/+4. So we only get it for a turn, goes back in our deck. The next time we see it, it's an 8/8, does its thing again. Next time we see it is a 12/12. Sounds good, but ultimately not a very reliable threat. So we're running the equipment with it as well, and for some reason that's not popping up. There we go, the Wild Boots. So that instead, at the end of our turn, it goes into our deck, gets +4/+4, gets cost -3, and it loses this power. So the first time it goes into our deck, it's going to become an 8/8 0 cost with all these impressive keywords here. And then the next time we put it out on the field, it's going to stick around and be a reliable threat that we can use to normally end the game. But, you know, can sometimes be a valuable defender as well. Now, that's all well and good, but we need to make sure that we're finding them in the first place, getting them on the field as early as possible, and then finding the now buffed free troop in our deck again. And one of the ways we're helping with that is we're running the gloves equipment as well with the Stampeding Wild Boar, which says whenever you play a plant or beast, the card itself happens to be a plant or beast, move this up 2 spaces in your deck. So the more of these we play, the more the quicker that they'll cycle through our deck, and we'll be able to get more copies of them out onto the field. And of course, we're not just playing, these aren't the only plant beasts we're playing in our deck. The deck is full of them. So typical for plant-based mono wild strategies, we're running 4 copies of Bramble Creeper, 1/1. Other plants you control get +1/+1 and Skyguard. That's great. We're running some Baroness, Floriana. Other plants you control have +1/+1 and Steadfast. Also says other undead you control have +1/+1 and Lethal, which might not seem relevant in a plant-based deck until you take a closer look at some of the other plants we're running, which happen to be undead plants. Blightbush, 2/2 for 2, that when it dies creates 2 1/1s. They're also undead plants, so these are all getting +2/+2 Lethal and Steadfast when the Baroness is on the field. Blightseed Fiddler, just a 3/1 for 2, decent stat line. Undead plant also getting all those buffs. It has a Deathcry Fate Weave, so that can help us smooth out our draws. We're also running the Trinket with it to give our Blight Blossoms +1/+1 at the end. Is it the end? At the start of our turn. The Blight Blossoms are the tokens this thing creates when it dies. Not a very relevant piece of equipment a lot of the time, but it can sometimes help out, and we don't have any other meaningful things to put in the Trinket slot anyway. Rounding out the deck, typical for mono wild list, we got 4 copies of Howling Brave and 4 copies of Chlorophylia as accelerants. Nice thing about Chlorophylia in a plant-based troop deck is that we can run the weapon equipment to give all our plants in all zones +1/+1 permanently. All zones means in play, in our graveyard, in our deck. All our plants are getting buffed whenever we're playing this, and of course we're running the head equipment with it as well to give it cost -1, so it's essentially free because it plays shards from our deck. Rounding out the list, 4 copies of Might Singer of Ages. Doesn't have any direct synergy with our plant strategy, but the fact that we can draw the top card of our deck whenever we gain a wild threshold is nice when we're moving Stampeding Wild Boards closer and closer to the top of our deck. It's not uncommon to gain a wild threshold, then draw a Stampeding Wild Boar that we can use for the turn. And of course, it's just a great value troop on its own in a mono wild deck, since it's got this ability to get +5/+5 permanently at the start of every turn once we get 5 wild thresholds, which is very easy to do in a deck with 4 Howling Braves and 4 1-cost Chlorophyllias. And then at the top end, we have some Crocosaurs that to act as removal. So we're gonna go jump into the Frostwing Arena and see how this deck does. I had ran it on Friday and did pretty well. I decided not to record or stream that run, and of course, you know, it did so well. And now that I am streaming, we're probably gonna get dumpstered, but we'll see how it goes. If we have a bad start, we might run it back, because I really do like this deck. I have a lot of fun with it. Stampeding Wild Boar is one of my favorite cards to be introduced to the game. I'm not going to explain what the AI decks are doing too much unless it's relevant, because the idea is we're going to be killing them so fast it doesn't really matter what they're doing in a lot of cases. Well, we'll see what we can do there. So, Howling Brave on 1. Hard not to keep a hand that's like that. That's one of our best starts. Blightseed Fiddler being the follow-up threat isn't very impressive, but it can help us find what we need. We have Oakhenge Ceremonies here to help us find our first Stampeding Wild Boar. Typically, we want to use this after we've gotten one in the deck. Oh, you know what? I didn't explain something else we're running in this deck that some of you may have noticed. We're running a card called Pack Hunters. Pack Hunters says we get to choose a troop in our deck and create 4 copies of it and put them into our deck. Those copies also get +1/+1. So what we're trying to do is get an early Wild Boar with those buffs and cost reduction into our deck, create 4 copies of it, and then it just makes it all that much easier to get one off the top and start beating down the opponent with it. So anyway, let's see. Should we keep this hand? We do get a free mulligan in the Frostwing Arena, so maybe we want to take that. Oh, whatever. If we get a bad first encounter, we can always just restart the run, right? No harm, no foul. I'll hold off on this Oakhenge Ceremony for a while. I want to play a few plants first and see if we can find a Wild Boar off the top. Or since I went ahead and tapped that, why not? Let's just try it now. And there it is. There's our first Stampeding Wild Boar. Hopefully it can help us draw into some more cards and to help us find it again. So our opponent has killed our Blightseed Fiddler. We have plenty of shards, so we're just going to put a non-shard on top. Blightbush, great draw. We do lose our Howling Brave, but it's fine. We can play Stampeding Wild Boar as a follow-up, and then we have another one, which is nice. Swing in, 4 damage, draw a card. Goes back into our deck. See you later, buddy. Hope to see you soon. Now, Blightbush plus Baroness is a great turn 4 play. These two can act as such a wall for the... Okay, well, here we got a new plan now. That card I mentioned and failed to mention before, Pack Hunters. So we're going to play Pack Hunters, look for our Stampeding Wild Boar, that you can now see is free and has +4/+4. So we're going to create 4 copies of it. Those will be 9/9s. And I'll play it safe, and I'm just going to play out a Blightbush. So now all those Stampeding Wild Boars, those copies that we made, and even the natural ones, like other ones like this, are all moved 2 spaces up in our deck. Our opponent will kill the Blightbush. We'll get 2 Blight Blossoms. Now, I guess in the meantime, while we go through the motions, I'll just explain a little bit about what our opponent's deck is trying to do. It's a mono-red, mono-ruby deck that's trying to just draw you a bunch of cards. It's trying to find these booby traps that it puts in your deck, and once you draw them, you take 4 damage, and it's trying to do that as quickly as possible, as well as, you know, deal direct damage to you with a whole suite of other cards. But anyway, So we'll start with Chlorophylla, make all our plants bigger, also provide us with the 5th resource we need to play out this Crocosaur if we need to. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and play Blight Bush into the Baroness. Now I could hit our champion power here. Our champion power says if the top card of your deck is a resource, play the top card of your deck for free. Otherwise, draw a card and gain 2 health. We want to hit this after we've put a bunch of plants into play to ensure, or just make it very likely, that the top card of our deck is one of our free Stampeding Wild Boars. We haven't done too many yet, and there's not a huge upside to getting it out now. We're nowhere near. We're nowhere near the point where our opponent can kill us, so we need to like rush and close out the game. So I'm just gonna wait probably till next turn. See, we had a wild boar on the top of our deck, but it wasn't one of our free ones. Draw a shard. There it is. There's one of our copies, and we could tell it's a copy because it's not an 8/8, it's a 9/9. So now this is gonna end the game very, very quickly. Let's just go triple Stampeding Wild Boar, why not? See if the top card of our deck is another one. It is. And that's going to be the game. With all this crush damage, there's no way our opponent can block enough of it to prevent dying, so... That's a nice first game to show off the power of the deck. Well, it was a little slow. We had a little bit of a slower start. We normally like to see get a turn 2 Wild Boar off the back of a turn 1 Howling Brave, but that can kind of show you the burst power that the deck has the potential to do. Always want to go first if we can. Wow. Chlorophylla, Howling Brave. But no real follow-ups after that. Crocosaur's kind of nice. Dread Technomancer. This guy's all about spamming out dwarves and robots on the field. So, I mean, it's going to have text. And we might be able to find something nice with his Wild Ice. I want to keep this. Might be kind of greedy, though. We'll keep it. We'll see what happens. We are going first. That's fine. He's gonna cheap shot our Howling Brave, but we have a backup, which we might not even need. And look at that. We got a turn 2 Stampeding Wild Boar anyway. Kismet is smiling on us today. Deal damage, pass a card, draw a card, pass the turn. Hopefully we draw something nice off the top, though. Our Wild Boar found us a Wild Shard, which is not exactly what we need right now. Okay, Bramble Creeper's not bad. It's a plant, at least. You know what? Always play out your ice before you start playing plants in case you stack a non-Wild Boar on top of your deck. You want to make sure you're drawing Wild Boars as soon as possible. Alright, our AI opponent's not really threatening us too much right now. Blightseed Fiddler, yep, we're gonna play that out. I want to play out, I think we can get a little bit of value off this Crocosaur. When it comes into play, it battles 2 troops, but it must battle 2 troops. We can't just put it into play, battle his 1 troop. I could just play it as a 5/6, but I think we can wait. We'll see. I'll go ahead and draw. See what the top card of our deck is. Another Crocosaur. Well, if he doesn't give us 2 troops to eat with a Crocosaur by the end of his turn, we're just gonna put 1 into play and start beating him down with it. We'll block here. No need to take this damage. If he wants to kill our Blightseed Fiddler with a combat trick, I'm happy to get the Fate Weave off of that. Bramble Creeper in play. Now all of these plants are getting... This guy's getting +2/+2 from these. This guy's getting plus... Each of these is getting +1/+1. They're 3/3s because we played a Chlorophilia before. So, not what our deck is really designed to do, but sometimes we can just win games using our other troops. We have powerful, efficient troops, and we can like get them out real quick, so it's not unreasonable to win the game without the Wild Boars. Very possible. Swinging with everything but the Howling Brave here, although maybe I should actually do some math and see if we win. That's 13. I think we just go ahead. Oh, he does have he has Life Drain, but I think it's still enough. Yep. That's the power of Mono Wild, baby. Next up is Moonrise Elder. He can be a little bit of a pain. He's a very aggressive troop-based deck, but if we can get out some early blockers, particularly Blight Bushes, before he really gets rolling with his effects, can be good. Yeah, hard not to... He's going first, but we have some early plays. And we have this Might Singer of Ages that can potentially draw us more threats, so I'm going to keep this. Okay, well, we've hit our first challenge of the Frost Ring Arena. Hogarth has decided to put in this into play, which at the beginning of each champion's turn, we're going to gain a temporary and permanent resource and draw a card. Luckily, it triggered right before the start of our turn, so we're going to get the benefit from it before our opponent. I don't know if that's a good thing for us or a bad thing for us in this match, ultimately. I suppose I can play out the Might Singer first here, so any subsequent wild thresholds we gain can potentially draw us cards. Just gonna keep drawing shards, I guess. So, what do we want to do here? I'm definitely playing a Baroness and a Blightseed Fiddler. I'm not sure if I want to play a Bramble Creeper or if I want to Oakhenge and try to find one of our Wild Boars. I suppose we just start with a shard and see if we draw anything. Who knows, we could see a Wild Boar off the top. Nope. So our top card of our deck was a non-troop, so it got put back into our deck, so... Baroness. Fiddler. Sure, we'll play the Bramble Creeper. Make our board really tough to deal with. I don't believe... Moonrise Elder doesn't have a whole lot of removal, so... He's also missing a Ruby Threshold right now. He's just gonna swing in. Okay, I'll block. He gets 2 Phantoms. There's our Stampeding Wild Boar. Great. So we are going to then... I'm going to play out... Plant. Push up all our Wild Boars +2. Now the weird thing about this equipment is when you read it, it says... When you play a plant or beast, if this is in your deck, move this up 2 spaces in your deck. But when you look at the card itself, the text that it modifies on it is when you play a plant, if this is in your deck, move it up 2 spaces. When you play a beast. So this makes me think that whenever you play a plant beast, you're actually moving up these guys 4 spaces in your deck. Not really sure on that though. But it's just interesting to see how an equipment will say one thing and then what is modified on the card is slightly different. If it is as it says on the card, it's even more powerful. So I'm not complaining. Let's see if we put a Wild Boar on top of our deck. Or any troop at all. No. We'll play another... We drew another Baroness. Unfortunately, the Baroness is unique, so we can't play out another one. But we have a backup one just in case we lose. We'll lose it. I'm gonna save our charge power for after we put this back into our deck and maybe play out some more plants. See if we can find it with this Oakhenge Ceremony. It's unlikely since we're kind of running low, but we are drawing 2 cards every turn from Frostheart Fractured. Not going to swing the Bramble Creeper. Although if he wants to trade his entire board for the Bramble Creeper, I suppose I'm okay with that. We're going to leave the Might Singer back so it gets +5/+5 at the start of our next turn. Or apparently when you zoom in on a card, it selects it for your attack step. So now we're just going to lose that. GG Hex, you got me. We drew another Stampeding Wild Boar. That's great. This one will go back into our deck. It's now +4/+4 and costs 0. Don Mesa duo from our opponent, not very scary. Gets his Ruby Threshold Dome and creates a bunch of Valors, so that could be scary. But now we have a Crocosaur off the top of our deck, so I think we can just end the game now. We can get rid of his blockers. So I don't know. Choose your own adventure. We can win in a number of ways here. Get rid of these 2. Throw out the Stampeding Wild Boar. I don't know. Let's see if we can find another one off the top of our deck. Boom. There's the free one we put in from before. Full swing. Goodbye, Moonrise Elder. Field Medic. Elite. So every once in a while in the Frost Ring Arena, you come across elite versions of champions. When we get out of this game, I can show you exactly when you hit them for those aren't familiar. But there's little symbols on the encounter, the encounters that show when you are expected to run into elite versions of champions, which are just modified versions of champions. They might have more health, a better charge power, better passive. And when you'll run into bosses. We're going to run into our first boss right after we defeat this gentleman. He's a little bit of a slower deck. He's all about health gain and troops that benefit from gaining health. Not unlike one of the decks we're going to play after this one, in fact. But although ours are way better, I can tell you that. So because of that, this hand I think is fine with a Might Singer of Ages. We can get her secondary power online as early as, our turn 4, I think? Our turn 3, maybe? So, yeah, I'm inclined to keep this. Double Chlorophylia off the start with all the plants that we have in our deck means that any plant we draw off the top is going to be a scary threat. Only thing that would have been better is if we had a 1-drop to go after this, but take what I can get. Okay, so we drew a Wild Ice. How does this work with Might Singer? I'm pretty sure if I stack a non-resource on top of my deck, she'll draw it if it's a troop. I think that's how that works. But I think I'm going to be resource efficient this turn and do this. Okay, well, I should have put her into play first. Just to play out 2 threats. We can start beating down our opponent with this Blightseed Fiddler. Alright, he's gonna start gaining health every time he puts a troop into play. We drew a troop, that's great for us. Why not? I'm gonna hit this, see what we get. We get another Might Singer. Well, that is just great. Our board is gonna start getting very big very fast, and I don't know if the Field Medic actually has any way of dealing with this. I'm not sure if he has removal in his deck, actually. He might have some things like Bring to Justice or maybe Decree of Vanishing, but honestly don't know because I usually just beat him before he gets really a chance to do anything. +1/+1 to all our other plants, +2/+2 to the undead plants, to see how large these creatures are getting already. Now at the start of our next turn, these Might Singer of Ages are going to be 13/13s, or 12/12s, excuse me. And despite the fact that our opponent is a life gain deck, he certainly didn't gain enough life to prevent him from dying on this turn. Goodbye. Alright, let's see our first boss. Miriam. Alright, well, and we got a bonus from defeating that challenge earlier. We start the game with +5 health. Let's see how this goes. I can't quite recall how well this matchup goes for us. Miriam has a lot of sweepers in her deck. So Extinction and whatnot. Now our Wild Boars with their invincibility are very good against that. But if we don't get those, we could be in trouble. So I'm going to mulligan this. We want to see at least 2 shards in a hand like that. Oh, is this keepable? So, you know, when these Death Cry, we have the equipment that makes us gain resources from them. These will create blight bushes for us, but they won't be very, you know, they're just 1/1s. This can help us find stuff. I think we look for a better 6. And I'm going to keep that. We can't play anything out on turn 1, but... And we have a whole bunch of 2-drops. Am I supposed to put a shard on top here, or are we looking for something else? I think we want to just get a Wild Boar as soon as possible. It's a very tough card for Miriam to deal with once it's on the field. Find a Bramble Creeper instead. Play out this Howling Brave. Another Howling Brave, huh? Well, we can go Might Singer into Howling Brave. Maybe she'll draw us a card. Nope. What is she bringing back from the crypt? A Voice of Tombs. Not that bad. I think I'm going to play out these 2 and pass the turn. And I don't know that I'm going to commit anything else to the board outside of Wild Boars at this stage, just because an Extinction would be really devastating to us, and now especially we've hit the 5th wild threshold, so our Might Singer is going to start getting really, really huge. It might even... Miriam's running a lot of spot removal, but if she doesn't have it, would encourage her to... might encourage her to use an Extinction. Now I could swing here. He'll almost certainly block. I'm pretty sure the AI is going to double block here, which means they'll draw 2 cards off the Death Cry of this Underworld Crusader. Draw 2 cards, lose 2 health, but... So I think I'm just going to actually hold back for now. Make him commit more to the board. Vampire Prince is kind of nasty, though. Alright, we drew a card from Might Singer. It's a Blightseed Fiddler. Well, now that we have a Vampire Prince, although it is invincible, but still, I think I'm going to play out a Bramble Creeper so it has Skyguard so we can block. We can block this. I don't want him just getting free health gain. Well, he's going to get that anyway, but I don't want him milling the top card of our deck every turn, because we've played enough plants at this point that we're very likely to see a wild bar off the top anytime now. Anytime now. Yeah, I'm just inclined to just sit back here. If Miriam wants to commit more to the board before playing an extinction, that's fine by me. Yep, you do you, Miriam. I'll just be sitting here with my Might Singer of Ages getting bigger and bigger every turn. I'm gonna draw another Might Singer. I'm gonna save that as a backup. Let's see. Splight Seed, Fiddler would be lethal. I could swing with it. I think it's time to start seeing how they respond. He's just going to take the 6. That's actually really good for us, because if we get to the point where the crush damage from this is enough, although I think the AI is smart enough to know to block with an invincible troop in those cases to absorb all the crush damage. Pretty sure. Do we want to play out the Fiddler? Can draw us what we're looking... Yeah, I'll play with the Fiddler. Start swinging with it and the Blight Bush next turn. Force Miriam's hand. So he's giving the Vampire Prince a whole bunch of buffs, but it doesn't really matter. It can't get through what we're doing. And now our Might Singer is a 17/17. I'm going to Oakhenge here. I would like to find, if not a Stampeding Wild Boar, then perhaps a Crocosaur to take care of this Mordrum, as well as probably this High Infinitrix. Because then when this Mordrum leaves play, the troop it brought back into play with invincibility, in this case the Vampire Prince, will go back into the deck, and then we can swing in for a lot of damage, or start swinging in for a lot of damage. Or we could just hold this, because that's not really... I don't think we can do that this turn. So I'm just going to swing in these two. See what he does. Fair. He's going to double block here. Put a non-resource on the top of my deck. Pass the turn. A backup Blight Bush. Yeah, I'm gonna save that for post sweeper, because what's gonna happen is, as we're trying to fight through Miriam's troops, it's gonna get to the point where the AI is gonna decide, well, his board's bigger than mine, so I'm just gonna throw a extinction, and then we're gonna lose everything. So what I would really like to do is wait until this Might Singer is strong enough to swing in and win on its own, but I can't do that with an invincible Vampire Prince on the field. So I think we're just waiting for a turn where she's big enough and can attack through this entire board for lethal damage, and then and so what we're doing then in that case is waiting for one of our Crocosaurs. And now that's a little harder to do because of a Surge Raxard, who just gained her 25 health. Sort of. When it leaves the field, she'll lose 25, but that still gives her a buffer. Doesn't have to block with that anytime soon. Drew another Bramble Creeper. That's nice. Maybe I should play out a second Might Singer of Ages then in this case. So I have two very, very big, scary, powerful threats, and if they do get swept away, if Miriam decides that that's enough to clear the board. I still have Blight Bush, Bramble Creeper, although she could always have a follow-up extinction. Decisions. Let's look for that, let's look for another Might Singer. Well, I suppose we'll play it out. Really wanted to see a Crocosaur there. Still not getting there. I don't know if I can swing with his Might Singer when there's an invincible. I'm pretty sure the AI is smart enough to know that he can just block with this alone and he'll be fine. But it still might be worth doing if it forces him, if he's interested in blocking with it and other things to kill this. Does he even have enough at this point? 10, 18, 3. I think so? I don't know. I'm just going to swing in and see what the AI does. Repel. It could always do that. I forgot that they have those. I mean, she's got Hero Falls in the deck too, so we could have lost our... Well, now that is interesting. I'll block here and block here. That's good. We only lost the Chlorophilia off the top of our deck. Not that bad. Do I want to play out the other Might Singer? I don't think I do quite yet. Might want to play out this other Blight Bush though. Let's see if we can draw a couple cards. There we go. We finally see a Stampeding Wild Boar. Enough of these. If we can get these going, might be able to win. So I'm going to swing with these, see what he does. Nothing. He just takes the damage. Makes sense. I mean, he's got a billion health. Thanks to Sir Draxert over there. We'll pass. Now, we're probably going to be a little bit more willing to play stuff out on the board. Angel of Judgment's kind of nasty. Whenever he loses... whenever a card enters his crypt, we have to sacrifice a card, so that can be annoying. Can't really block that for free. We're just gonna hope that he doesn't mill off. Okay, he milled a resource off the top of our deck. That's fine. Oh, these 6 toughness troops. If only Crocosaur were a 6/6. If only. Alright. What do we want to do? I think I'll play out this and this for sure. I think I'll save the rest for now. Do I want to swing with a Might Singer before... He's holding up another Repel, though. So maybe not. Maybe not. I'll swing in with these lethal threats, though. Pretty much free damage. High Tomb Lord. That's bad. That's kind of scary. I wonder if this game is slipping away from us at this point. I might have to start blocking this because I really, really don't want him to find the wild boar off the top. I'll just throw the Baroness under the bus since we have a backup one. Now might be our chance to swing in with these Might Singers. Let's see. I'm going to use this Crocosaur and eat the Mordrim to finally get this Invincible Vampire Prince off the field for sure. I think I'll get rid of the Infinitrix as well. I could also go with the Blackheart Paladin since it's such a big body and it reduces the damage we deal by 1. But we're kind of a ways off from killing him anyway. I don't know if that's relevant. But at the same time, I don't know if the Crocosaur, like, I don't know if the 5/6 body is relevant either on such a board state. Actually, maybe we want to get rid of this. I don't know. I feel like we have a extinction in our future anyway, so probably doesn't matter. We're also going to have to sacrifice some troops because of this. I think I'm going to go use those while I can. Let me play out a couple of these. Just one of them. I think we just really, really want to see our Stampeding Wild Boar at this point. I'll save the one in case we draw a the non-upgraded one. We didn't draw anything. That's really unfortunate. All right, let's get rid of you and you. His high Tomb Lord's getting really strong too. That's the other problem. But it's not immune to, you know, lethal plants. So we're just gonna swing in here for a bunch of damage. He might just take it. Or she might just take it on the chin. Pass the turn back. Yep. No extinction. Doesn't mean she doesn't have it. Pack Hunters is a pretty decent draw here. Now we can get more of our big boys into the deck. Oh, I imagine we're gonna see extinctions soon. Makes me think I should get kind of the value from these Might Singers now. How much damage are we dealing here? Let's assume he blocks these 4. Can we might, could also have repels. Let's think about it. If he blocks everything, is that even enough damage getting through? Considering he could block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do we go for it? I think we just go for it. This might be a punt. We'll see. Guess I'd rather kill the Sentinel. 17, so there's 10 left, so it hits us. Yep, definitely killing Draxard. The Blackheart Paladin. Yep. That doesn't kill either of those. It doesn't matter. Wow, yeah, it was more than enough. Wow, so that was a long one, but we got there. Boss win, perfect tier bonus, gold bonus. Yep, so there we go. We cleared the first tier perfectly. I skipped the actual first tier because it's like training mode. We don't really need to do that. For anyone wondering who might not be familiar with this mode. So, all right, let's move on to the next one. Voice of Dendra. This deck is all about discarding cards. So she's gonna try to get cards out of our hand, and she has other cards that benefit her for doing that. But hopefully we can just be so fast and put out such powerful threats on the field before she can empty our hand that it just won't matter. Little resource light, but with a, you know, turn 1 Chlorophylia into Howling Brave and like these plants and these Might Singers, this is a great starting hand. It looked resource light, but we really have 3 resources in hand, and we're going to get to play all of them on turn 1. Another Howling Brave. So we can go Howling Brave 2-drop, and then next turn if we can play 2 2-drops. Even if we don't hit our resource. Do we want to play out... I screwed up again. I should have played the Might Singer first, then play the Howling Brave, because I could have potentially drawn a card from her. Although if there was a resource on top of our deck, she'd kind of shuffle it away into our deck, and we might actually kind of want one more resource here, just in case she gets rid of our board. We want to make sure we have at least 3 resources so we can play out our wild boars. But anyway, we'll play off the Might Singer, I think. Maybe the Blightseed Fiddler makes more sense to ensure that we get another threshold, but we have 2 natural shards, so we can do that anyway. And now we got a 3rd, so I'm going to play out Might Singer. I'm actually going to play out a Fiddler before I play this shard, because it could put a Wild Bar on top of our deck for us to draw. Nope, but we drew a Howling Brave. That's going to give us some potential redraws. There were 2 troops on top of our deck, so we got a Crocus and a Stampeding Wild Boar. That's great. Here's the first of many annoying sort of effects. So she buried the top 3 cards of our deck. We lost the Stampeding Wild Boar. This is a card we really don't want to see after we put one of these in our deck. Doesn't look like she's gonna have a turn. She's gonna put another troop out this turn, so it makes me, want to get rid of this Crocosaur. Plus, this Blight Bush pushes Wild Boars up on our deck, or closer to the top of our deck, which could be a liability because of these Demented Whispers. I mean, we'll see. But we have Might Singers getting like really strong, really fast anyway, so I'd rather just keep the removal, I suppose. And is this even worth blocking? I don't think so. She might even be dead this turn. This gives this +1, this +2. That's 12. 14, 26. Can I play out all of them? I believe I can. And you can see just how individually powerful these Might Singer of Ages can be on their own. The only synergy you need is playing out a lot of wild shards very quickly, and they just take over the game on their own. Alright, Lasgar's Bloodsworn, the elite version, which is pretty nasty. This guy's all about direct damage. aka non-combat damage. So everything that he does is increased by 1 once he meets these threshold requirements here. 1 blood, 1 ruby. His champion power is a random deal 2 damage to one of my troops or me, and he's just got a ton of troops that take advantage of this, as well as a ton of removal for reach to finish off what last bit of HP we might have, even if we start, you know, developing a board. This is a decent starting hand, though. We have turn 2 Stampeding Wild Boar into turn 3 Stampeding Wild Boar and Pack Hunters. So while we don't have any defenders, this might be a fast and aggressive enough start that we can kill Asgard's Bloodletter before he kills us. The elite version starts with this Ghostblade Duelist in play. This is just a tap, deal 1 damage to my face. We're also seeing another one of our challenges. There's 1 challenge per tier in the Frostring Arena. This challenge, and they're random what they are. This challenge, he got a Primordial Caves. Essentially, he's going to spawn random dinosaurs on his side of the table every once in a while. It's dependent on the cards he draws in hand and how expensive they are, so could be that we don't see a dino at all, though it's unlikely. No turn 1 or turn 2 play is really good for us. I guess I lied before. We're not gonna get to do Pack Hunters Stampeding Wild Boar on our turn 3 because this is a slow shard. But I think we want to go Pack Hunters, Might Singer, Wild Ice. We could also do double Pack Hunter. It's not unreasonable, but I think I want to be a little bit more resource efficient. And besides, the next turn we can do what I thought we'd get to do this turn is Pack Hunters into Stampeding Wild Boar. I think. See, now that... You know what? I actually probably should have played this ice before putting her into play, because I wouldn't mind seeing another shard off the top so we get closer to this Crocosaur, which might be relevant. But unfortunately, we're not going to get to do that now because the Might Singer... If we do that, the Might Singer is just going to shuffle the shard away. She only lets us draw troops. Fire Dancer's fine. It has to attack in to do damage to us. Okay, his charge power... hit our face. Another Might Singer. We might want to play defense a little bit here and go Blightbush Might Singer. Does put us a turn behind of doing the Pack Hunter Stampeding Wild Boar thing that I said, and I'd rather, you know, you usually want to Pack Hunters as soon as possible so you have as many of these in the deck as possible before you start playing out plants like this Blightbush and then pushing them all up. It's just dependent on whether or not we think we can fight through all the direct damage he's doing. He might also have a speedy threat on his turn 4. Decisions. I don't know. Let's just go for it. So we're going to copy one of our copied Stampeding Wild Boars because they'll be even stronger. The Stampeding Wild Boar is going to take a while to resolve because the game's got to move up a lot of cards in our deck. Going to swing, draw a card, hopefully see one of those Stampeding Wild Boars, and we do. So we're actually going to play it out at the end of our turn here because it's not going to go back into our deck at the end of our turn, right? Because this is one of the powered up ones. But it also is a very effective blocker, being an 11/11 invincible. Pretty much nothing's getting through this. Now, problem. He played an Nefarious Corruptor. Second problem, his second charge power activation didn't hit our troop. It instead hit our face. So we're taking a lot of direct damage here. This modifies the text on our card such that it deals 2 damage to us at the start of each of our turns. But we did just draw another Stampeding Wild Boar. One of our powered up ones, in fact. This actually looks like the original one that got put into our deck. So we might be able to beat him down. What we got 20 power. He can only block 4. So yeah, we have him dead exactly. And I was worried. Can you see why I love this card so much? Stampeding Wild Boar. It's one of the best cards in the game. You heard it here, folks. You heard it and you saw it here. Come on, look at that. Looks like we're on the play this game. Blood Sphinx. This is a Sapphire Blood control deck. It's all about playing a ton of actions, a ton of sweepers, control the board, and then play out some big threats in the late game to finish you off. It doesn't say it on the, it doesn't say it before the game, but it does. Both players will get to copy an action in their hand at the start of the game, which makes me kind of want to take the free mulligan here. Plus, this is not the greatest hand anyway. See if we can get a Chlorophilia, because if we get a doubled Chlorophilia, it's very, very good. We got virtually the same hand instead, however. I think our average 6 is a little better than this. So we might want to take another mulligan. I really, really don't like mulliganing down past 7 if we can avoid it, though, for most matchups, unless we're facing something that's particularly aggressive and we need early drops. Oh, can this get us there? Can this get us there? 2 Might Singers, a lot of shards. We're drawing a lot of cards. Ah, sure. See if we can... See if this hand will be good enough. Gonna play a Mind Snatch Raven, steal a random card from our deck. Hopefully not one of the ones we really want. Stampeding Wild Boar. That's great. So the Might Singer finds a Might Singer off her activation. Not gonna swing the Might Singer of Ages in. Do this. Find another Wild Boar. That's not bad. If we can just chain Wild Boar, Wild Boar, Wild Boar, we're probably gonna do okay in this. Alright, so the copied action in the opponent's hand was a kill, but silly AI, there's only one troop of mine in play, so the copy is going to be wasted. Chlorophilia, decent. Play that. Play out a Wild Boar. I'm going to stack a non-resource on top to draw with the Wild Boar. And we're going to wait to activate our charge power until we put a bunch of plants in play. Just maximize our chances of the top card being one of the Wild Boars we put back into our deck. He's bringing the copied kill from his graveyard back into his hand, so we know he has that. And we can pretty much... We know he's got a sweeper, because they always have the sweeper. Despite that, though, I think I'm going to go ahead and play out a bunch of plans in hopes that we hit our Wild Boars sooner rather than later. I might actually save this shard too for maybe a turn post sweeper when he to put these Might Singers into play, and then this. We're just gonna wait. Using double kill, and this time the AI is actually not targeting the same troop. That's good. I wonder if they improved that. We are going to have 2 Blight Blossoms with Skyguard, though. Yeah, I'm happy to trade 1 Blight Blossom for 1 Angel Foresight. Those things can get out of hand. Pack Hunters, decent. We don't have any plans to push up these Stampeding Wild Boars anymore, unfortunately. And it looks like they're near the bottom of our deck. So whenever you get a chance to do pack hunters and choose a troop in your deck, it actually organizes them by alphabetically. This is not the order of these troops are in the deck, but what you can tell is that of the Stampeding Wild Boars in my deck, the 2 topmost ones are actually the ones that aren't there. So it doesn't mean these 2 are on the bottom of our deck, but it does mean that they are currently lower in our deck than these other 2 Stampeding Wild Boars, which is unfortunate. So hopefully some of these copies get up above them. Yeah, we don't have much to do this turn. I'm going to hold back, wait one more turn, see what we draw, and then maybe put these Might Singers out. We want to force him to, if he's going to sweep our board, we want to force him to lose some troops as well in the exchange. Well, that's just great. Obviously. Stampeding Wild Boar. Don't think there's much the Blood Sphinx has in his deck to deal with this. He can bounce it back to our hand, but that's actually worse for him since we're going to, push more and more Wild Boars near the top of our deck every time we put it back into play. I mean, I almost want to encourage him to use a sweeper on his next turn because he's going to kill himself if he does so. Because this Wild Boar is just going to finish him off. Or we could just always draw a second Wild Boar. Can we get a third? We can. Unfortunately, we can't play it because it's one of the unbuffed ones. But I do believe that that's lethal anyway, so... Okay, next up, Seaweed Behemoth Elite, and when we completed that challenge from before, we got start the game with +5 health again. Not the greatest buff that we can get from this deck. We really want to see things like +1 resource or plus charges, but it is what it is. Winning challenges is obviously better than losing them. Yep, I'll keep this hand. Hopefully we see an early Stampeding Wild Boar so we can turn this Pack Hunters on. Don't normally like to use Pack Hunters just on the normal Wild Boars. Like to save it for one of them after we start putting some back into our deck. So we'll hold on this. If we draw a second one, we might use one to make sure we can find our first. I'm gonna go ahead and play the Blight Bush here. He's just gonna bounce it back to our hand and gain a charge. Okay. Fair enough. How about 2 of them? What do you have to say to that, opponent? Nothing. Missing shard drops. That's very good for us. We like to see the AI missing shard drops because we don't like them to have fun. Fun is a zero-sum thing in a game with the AI, so I'd be fine if they kept bricking. I'm fine with that. All right. Stampeding Wild Boar. We could Pack Hunters and then play 2 plants next turn to push up all those Stampeding Wild Boars up on our deck, but maybe the damage is more valuable here. This, when it blocks, it prevents all combat damage, so maybe not. Yeah, I think I'll wait for next turn to do that. But this is can swing in here. We won't draw the card because the AI wisely blocks the larger troops, so we're not going to get the card draw from that. Charge Hulk. Getting close to his charge power. For 10 charges, this guy draws 5 cards, then plays a random card for free. Wow, looks like that Wild Boar really, really wants to play, so it came right back to the top of our deck. So unfortunately, this Pack Hunters isn't going to really do anything now. But I think we're in a position where it's fine to use it then, because we're going to play 3 plants and one of them being a plant beast, so we're very likely to see more Stampeding Wild Boars, and we can just quickly end this game, because when this behemoth gets going, it really gets going. So we're going to play you out. You. It's taking a while for each of these cards to resolve, because the game is pushing all those wild boars closer to the top of our deck. Drew one of them. Flock of Seagulls is really annoying, but still missing shard drops. No plays from the opponent. Could have something tricksy here, but you know, we're not in a position to hold back. We're just gonna swing. No reason for us to hold back. Doesn't have a trick to stop any of this damage, so he goes down. And we're up to our second boss, Izume Grand Concubine. She's all about swarming the battlefield with token troops and little troops, and then buffing them all, or getting benefits for them dying. Can be really nasty. The +5 health that we got from completing that challenge might actually be relevant here, because sometimes she can get really aggressive starts, and we might need those resources to help us buy time. So we don't have a Wild Boar in hand, but double Chlorophylla into Blightbush and Baroness, which are just such a great combination, and we can get them down on the next turn, start beating down our opponent. This is a really, really good non-Wild Boar start from the deck. Only thing that would be better is if we had a what the heck is it called? The bramble bush? What are you called again? Bramble creeper. One of those shards was a bramble creeper. That would have been the nuts. Another Chlorophylla, yeah, sure. Because our plants weren't strong enough. Now, one thing I could do is save this Chlorophylla in case one of these Blight Bushes dies, so that the Blight Blossoms get more powerful, but I don't think that's worth doing most of the time. So we're just going to go Chlorophylla. Just a casual 12 power on the field turn 2. No big deal. I'm going to hit this. Could wait one turn, but no turn 2 play from Izume, so this is going swimmingly for us. Her deck does not contain any sweepers, so there's no fear of us just going ham, playing out everything. What did we draw from our Might Singer? Another Blight Bush. That's great. She's probably just dead next turn. No matter what she plays. I don't think there's a way for her to get out of this. Runeer. Charge power creates a random Shin'er for her. Gonna buff the Runeer when it comes into play. Not gonna really be relevant, I don't think. Got another Baroness in case the other one dies somehow. And we can just smash face. I didn't do the math. Let the AI do the math. Turns out they're dead. Alright, so great run for us so far. I'm glad we've had such a great run so I could show off the power of this deck. And we've had some of those nuts draws where you just get Wild Boar into Wild Boar into Wild Boar, free Wild Boar into free Wild Boar into free Wild Boar. We can get blown out now and I'd be happy because I got to show off what this deck can do. But of course we're going to try to see if we can get that perfect run. Midnight Gatherer can be annoying, particularly if it's the elite version, but it isn't. I mean, this is almost too much ramp, but oh man, I can't throw this back. This is just, it's just too nice. Anything off the top is a huge threat now with these Chlorophylla. It might even, normally we want to save these Oakhenge ceremonies for after we get those buffed Wild Boars in our deck to help us find them. But I might just use this to find something else like a Like a Might Singer or something. Okay. I'm gonna put a non-resource on the top of our deck. I won't use this Oaken Ceremony just yet. We'll wait a turn. I won't use it until we like don't have a play. Then I might use it just to ensure we have a play. Well, see, our double Chlorophilia biting us in the ass right here. Destroy target troop with defense 4 or more. She's only had 4 or more defense because of the double Chlorophilia turn, but hey, you know what? That's a Pride's fault now that it can't use on these Might Singers, or excuse me, 2 Might Singers. Has another piece of removal though. Reap. We'll take we'll get rid of one of those Might Singers. Backup Baroness. Is it worth using this charge power at this point? I mean, I don't think so. I think we can wait. This Might Singer, he has to answer this Might Singer or he's just dead. Hall of Radiance is not going to do it. It's got all thresholds now though. Plus a Midnight Shepherd. No troops in the bin to bring back with Midnight Shepherd, but she will transform. We have 12, 16, 17 power on the table, if I did that math right. He can block 4 of it. Go down to 2. So, yeah, let's see if we can kill him this turn. Pack Hunters, huh? That is an interesting sound. Put some of those in the bin. If I play this Oaken Ceremony, even with this Howling Brave activation, I can't play any Stampeding Wild Boars off the top, which is our only speedy threat anyway, so I'm going to save it for next turn. Just so we can get, you know, we draw 1 card off the top of our deck, we get 1 card deeper. There's a chance we find it then. Plus, I can always just swing with his Howling Brave. He's forced to block. Or, I guess, the AI just doesn't want to play anymore and will let us win. Okay. Fair. Now, if only the dragons could do that, I'd be very, very happy, man. Burly Botanist Elite has the potential to be very fast, very nasty deck. We have a good start though. Turn 2, Stampeding Wild Boar into Pack Hunters, Bramble Creeper follow-up. He is going first, sadly, which is very, very good. We really want to be going first in this matchup. But hopefully we can get there. Hopefully we can get under what he's trying to do. The biggest thing we don't want to see from him is just a ton of assault cards in hand. Assault cards tend to get cheaper the more of his troops attack, and since he's swarming the board with speedy attackers every turn, he's all about dumping his hand out after making the cards cheap enough and getting his board to a state that's just impenetrable with cards like Siege Engine Gemini. Very scary card in Burly Botanist deck. Pro Warpair are going to act like a bit of a wall, but it's just definitely, its bigger issue is that it's generating 3 things for him every turn. Another Stampeding Wild Boar. See, like I said, the wall is actually relevant in this case because we won't get to draw a card from the Stampeding Wild Boar because he will be able to block it. But I think it's still the play on our turn. Actually, is it though? I think our play might be double Pack Hunters, play out Blightseed, and the other plant so that we are moving up these now, what? 9 powered up Stampeding Wild Boars in our deck up every turn. Oh, we can't quite get there. What am I saying? 9. Well, with that in mind, do I want to play this ice? No, I think I want to play Blightseed Fiddler out here. Might actually want to block this pro board pair as a, you know, use this Blightseed Fiddler as a gain 4, and also put stuff at the top of our deck. Although it kind of bit of a compromise, I guess. Yeah, he's hitting us pretty fast here, so I'm gonna put something on the top of our deck. Blightbush. Blightbush might be pretty good here. So I could stack a resource on top of our deck with this Wild Ice. We're certainly going to draw it because he's not going to block the Stampeding Wild Boar with this Runier Hierophant. The Runier Hierophant's going to get pretty scary, though. Runier Hierophant is going to get pretty scary, but we will get to play a Bramble Creeper as a blocker if we need to. Assuming he doesn't have any root removal, that might be enough, but then we really need to like start chaining these Wild Boars starting next turn, which we might be able to do. We will have been playing enough plants. There's also always a chance that the Stampeding Wild Boar finds us a Stampeding Wild Boar, so because of that, I think I'm going to not stack a resource on top of our deck first. I'm going to wait. And it found it. So now that's just great for us. Now it's a great defender. So we'll play it out for sure, along with this Bramble Creeper. Do I still want to stack a resource on top of my deck so that I have an activation? Because even if we... Yeah, I think I want to do that. Play that out. Play you out. Stack a resource on top of our deck. So we should draw a resource next turn. Unless this Stampeding Wild Boar goes back right on top of our deck. Shouldn't be able to die this turn unless he goes super, super wide on us. I mean, that's the start. That's the start of going super wide on us. Oh, no. And this is one of the cards we didn't want to see. Woken Draktarg. This card is a 25 cost to start, but every time a troop enters play under your control, no matter where this is, in your hand or in your deck, it gets 1 cost cheaper. So he's made enough Dreadlings that only costs 1, and it gives +5/+5 to everything. So would we have died anyway without that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope. We would have lived and we would have gotten to ready, and there was a good chance we could have won on our next turn. So this is why I wanted to go before the Botanist. Him getting to go first was just enough to get under what we were doing. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. With all those Wild Boars in our deck and with all the stacking we were doing, very, very likely we were going to win on our next turn. Oh, that fucking Botanist. I hate that guy. Okay. Angel of Dawn, non-elite. Oh, let's see. Chlorophilia, turn to Blightseed Fiddler can draw us the shards we need if we start missing on them. Plus Pack Hunters. I think this hand is okay. I think this hand's okay to keep against Angel of Dawn. Sure. Whatever. The Botanist ruined our perfect run anyway, right? So we don't fucking care anymore. Stampeding Wild Boar is nice to see. Makes this Pack Hunters more relevant. And now we're definitely going to start playing out Blightseed Fiddlers because the Fate Weave trigger will let us put a third resource on top of our deck so we can play out this Wild Boar. So I'm going to be pretty aggressive, or we could just draw it naturally and play it out. I'm fine with that too. Hit him, draw a card, Chlorophilia. We're gonna play that. Okay, that's kind of scary. So, Might Challenge says, at the start of your turn, if you control the troop with or type eyes attack, play the top card of your deck for free. And the top card of the opponent's deck just happened to be a 7-drop. So now we're under the gun a little bit here. We got to play this for free because I believe the Angel of Dawn, though it doesn't say, each deck gets modified with the text when you draw this, play it for free on a few of your cards. Or maybe it's troops only. Okay, well anyway. I'm gonna do this. Do that, play this, so that all the copies now get +1/+1. And I don't know if we can race this, honestly. This was an unfortunate combination of things to happen. We got this, Hogarth presented us with this challenge, and she had one of these bad boys at the top of her deck. I think we're just going to get janked out of this game, too. Which is too bad, because our hand was looking like it was going to get there. So I think the correct thing to do is to play out the Blightseed Fiddler to push up those... Sure, just give you armor 2 and +2, whatever this does. Who cares what it does? She got it for free. Alright, she's gonna revert all cards because the AI doesn't understand that it doesn't have to do, it can choose, you know, to stop at some point. So it'll revert my cards, and revert his, but it's I don't think that's gonna be really relevant. That doesn't really buy us any time. I'm gonna play Blightseed Fiddler here. I'm gonna Oakhenge, looking for a Stampeding Wild Boar. I was hoping it'd be a free one, though. That's probably gonna be it, unfortunately. Just, yeah, this challenge is just pretty silly. Pretty silly challenge. Yeah, there's not much we can do against this, so I'm just gonna move on. Reaper Bot Elite. That is kind of a tougher one for us. If we can get our, you know, invincible wild boars that's out on the field, it's not as bad. The reason why this can be a problematic matchup for us is because of his charge power. Destroy all non-artifact troops. Very nasty. This is a decent hand because it has those Stampeding Wild Boars and Pack Hunters to duplicate them, Oakhenge to find them, etc. But it is kind of slow. And Reaperbot can have some pretty aggressive draws. Starts with an Argus Herald of Doom in his hand, which is a way for him to deal with our invincible Wild Boars. I think I'm gonna stack a non-resource on top of our deck here, looking for a ramp spell or just something else to buy us time, like perhaps some Blight Push. Didn't get it. Got a Blightseed Fiddler though. That's not bad. Decent blocker. If we lose this game, our run is over, unfortunately. We won't get to see the final boss. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. We got a... Alright, we'll play the... Reactor Bot's kind of nasty. It makes me want to put defenders in play, but I don't think we're winning if we're just on defense here, so play the Wild Boar. Just hope he starts missing some shard drops for a little bit. Looks like he is. So we will Pack Hunters into this. Stampeding Wild Boar, draw a card. 1, 2, 3, 4. He could get 9. He could kill us next turn, but I think we have to go for it here. I mean, I asked for this, right? I asked for this when I said I'm fine if we get blown out. So I only have myself to blame. What is the way we can chain a bunch of attackers here? I go Stampeding Wild Boar to draw a card. Well, I can go Wild Boar. The unfortunate thing is ice, actually. I'll do it first. Can I see Wild Boar off the top? Why, thank you. Can I get another one? Yes, but not a free... I should have specified. That was my fault. I should have specified. So, do we just lose anyway? He's doing enough damage to us that we just lose anyway, right? Yeah. So if we saw one of the free Wild Boars off the top there, we would have won. Yeah, see, where were you before? I guess we can play it out, and in case the enemy is... Maybe it'll scare him into not swinging. Nope, the AI is not that dumb. Okay, well, unfortunately, we got... that was an unfortunate end to that run. But, hope you can see... Hope you got to see at least some of the fun that can be had in a deck like that. Almost want to run it back, because I really do like that deck. I have so much fun. But we'll move on to something else now.